Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Would you like to introduce everybody to the podcast, sir?
Welcome to the Be the Exception podcast. We're here with Dan and Griffin, doing
Apparently Turks and Caicos.
I bought this off Amazon. I forgot to get one down there.
Probably cheaper. Turks and Caicos.
Oh, cool.
Was it sick? Turks and
The
Caicos.
island?
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
I like to go.
Chuck Norris went to the Virgin Islands. When he came back, they were just called the Islands.
Please edit all this out, Raphael.
Be fine. So it's been a while since I've been on here, and I appreciate you guys having me back. But we had a major, is major the appropriate word to use when it comes to a blacklisted community competition?
I mean, this was one thing that we were building up for this year was this, and then with the uncertainty of like the open and stuff like that, I would say this was probably from like 2024 season standpoint, probably one of the bigger events that we had focused in on for the calendar year.
Like last year we had how many? It was over 20 people that competed in this last year, right? Or close to it.
I think we had more this year than last year.
Right, I know that. I'm saying like last year's performance and the volume of the blacklisted community that was there is did it play as a major reason or as a?
Oh, I see what. Yeah, well, I mean, the competition is just very well run. Like, if you've been like, obviously, hopefully you watch it, maybe you watch it, but they have two stages, so there's always something going on that are right on top of each other. I don't know of another competition that does that.
The DCC did it, but they wasn't like the way they set it up.
Okay, but they had like two stages, kind of like right side by side or something like that. Okay, because the way that they have it set up is like one old school regional floor, but one side is like one workout, and then the other side is the other workout. Because the rig got like obviously the rig has like rope climb side and then bar muscle up side or bar hanging side. So there's always something going on the floor. So like even if you're in between heats, you can just look across and you see another workout, which is super nice. Or if you have two people going at the same time, which we kind of ran into a lot of, you can keep tabs on both people and watch both people. So it's a great setup.
I remember that last year.
What's that?
I remember that last year. I felt bad not being able to go this year. I do recall like Tristan going at one point, and then I believe Amanda or the teams had started on the other side
Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I think it was AJ and Caroline that were going the same time as Tristan at one point. I could be wrong with it being Tristan specifically, but
yeah,
it was a convenient thing as a coach to a degree. I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they
kept the same thing this year.
They kept the same thing, but I think one of the big things that they were running into. We'll get into that, but to bring it back, it's just a really good and fun event. Even like they have great competitors there. Like I think Dre Strom was on the podium last year. He went and competed at semifinals this last year. So I mean, they have really good athletes at this event. And so even from high level all the way down to we had some people from Krista's gym that were competing there in the scale division, and they loved it as a team.
Yeah, I saw where is it Jack? The younger. I met him just one time, so I feel bad forgetting his name. But he was down here when when we had the Bring a Friend day. It was Yana, Krista, the rest of the Virginia.
James.
Yes. He got on the podium.
Yeah. Yep. Second place. Yeah.
That's pretty great.
So, and the guy that he was competing against finished third place in the 14-15 last year. So cool. There's some good competition at this.
That's pretty cool.
Competition.
So what was the grand number or total number of blacklisted athletes that are close to
18?
18, and we had I think we had a total of 21 going into the competition. You just always lose some from,
of course, life happens.
Life, nicks and pains, stuff like that. So I think we had a total of 21 going out there, though, that's
a lot.
Yeah, pretty solid for us.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, It's a lot in my opinion, and also like everyone leading up to it, with the amount of times I could be here, like actually work together on it, and we're even in the Slack and in any text thread, like it was just cool to see the support,
Mhm.
and I'm assuming the support stayed there with each
Oh
other.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was a super fun weekend. Everybody, I mean, you probably saw some of the stuff that was getting
Oh,
posted
yeah.
on Instagram, but like
Yep.
everybody walked away from that competition. And I think this is testament to the competition just being run very well,
Mhm.
and just the vibes that kind of Kyle gives off is everybody walked away from that competition on a high. Like regardless of how they did, they had a super fun time there.
That's great. I mean, how did you feel about it? Same deal?
Yeah. I mean, I only have one negative from the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's a selfish one. It's so I wasn't there last year, but they changed the warm up area to so it was a lot better
Mhm.
and a lot more space this time. The
That's
only
good.
issue was for coaches, they should make a coach's pass, give you the coach's pass instead of
Oh,
buying
they
a
didn't have that
general
this year?
admission, which whatever. It's not about the money, it's about the fact that for us as coaches to be able to coach your athletes, you couldn't go through the way they did, so you were running around the building all day long, which is fine, but it would have been nice as a coach to be able to be there, walk them there, see it, walk back, go help your other athletes, things like that, which again, that's a selfish thing, so I'm not expecting them to change shit, but
They probably will with the popularity of it.
I would say it would have made it a lot more efficient on a coach's side. We would be able to get a little bit more work done just because we would have someone going on maybe both stages plus people in the warm-up area, and it just kept going and you were constantly running around, which is not their problem to fix.
How was it
That
on
was
the
it.
crowd side?
I got 6 miles of walking in. So I was there.
Jesus.
Which is I
That's
like
awesome.
I was running back and forth, so it was kind of like a form of exercise, right? But that is one thing that I wish competitions would do more of, is give the coaches pass, because it is one, you can kind of crowd control who's in the warm up area at that
Which
point
they had
in time.
they had a problem with on day 1 or 2.
They announced something about
Yeah.
if you're not going within 20 minutes, please get out of here, because essentially anyone can walk back
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So
Get autographs.
yeah, and I don't know, maybe the cost of getting a separate color bracelet or getting a special bracelet or something like that is exponentially higher. And then how do you crowd control? Does everybody get a coach?
Yeah, it's true.
So
it's a lot.
yeah,
There could be a lot to go into.
it could be a lot, and maybe you only give elite and RX coaches passes or something like that. So
Do they have that at TFX?
No, which is super. They did 1 year and then they got rid of it. So I showed up to TFX 2 years ago, maybe, and I was like, I didn't buy a ticket. I was just I just showed up, and my athlete that was competing there, I'm like, hey, you mind if I get your coach's pass? And he looks at me. He's like, they don't have those. You gotta buy a spectator ticket. I was like, what? And they were sold out. So I was like, so he basically wore a sweatshirt in the whole weekend, and I took his pass, and we just went
funny.
back and forth. But it really is I know in this sport, coaches are kind of an afterthought with things.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
it is one of the big reasons why we had such a good experience there is because we had all 3 of our coaches out there. Well, not you, but unfortunately,
It's fair to say all 3 of your coaches. I don't program for anybody.
yeah. So we had
There's nothing wrong. with saying
everybody who has a coach with us had their coach out there, if that makes sense.
that makes a lot of sense, and that's appropriate to say.
Yeah, and that was a big reason why we had such a great time there, is everybody felt supported.
That's awesome.
And we could, we were interchanging roles. I would tell Griff, hey, I'm going out to the floor, and he would be back there for any athletes that I had back there. Same thing, he was staying and watching some of his athletes, and I would help out with whoever else was back there.
That's awesome.
And it, when we're trying to bring that many people to a competition, that's the only way to make it work. And so it's awesome that they let people back there at all, to be honest, because I know there's competitions that don't even do that. At the games in 2022, I think there was some limitations on who could go back to coach and who couldn't. So it was 2022 or 2022. Yeah. 21, sorry.
because of COVID, but yeah.
Yeah. So, there's It is awesome that they just allow that, and they every year they make improvements too, so that might be something that they look at.
Yeah,
doing
I
next
do
year.
recall was it? Yeah, it was last year when was it the wife? I believe no, you ran into Meg and I ran into the wife. You ran into the husband. I think they were asking for opinions. Like,
yeah,
right
I mean,
there.
yeah. One year I was looking for a bathroom or something like that, and I
Yeah,
ended up
sure.
like bumping into Kyle's wife, and then she introduced me to Kyle. But I'm so Krista has been out at that competition since it's like basically inception, or second year, because the first year I think they were only North Carolina or South Carolina, sorry. And she has seen year over year that Kyle really takes into consideration people's feedback and like makes changes year to year. And I'm sure that one of the feedback that they got, like you asked about crowd size, it felt a little bit smaller this year, but that's because they took the warm-up area, and you know how it was like in back and crowded as shit and like chaotic.
Yeah.
They took it and they moved it into its own room, like ballroom center.
That's good. That's good. They needed to do that last year.
So it felt less crowded there. I mean, it was still good crowds, but it felt less crowded because there weren't 1,500 athletes standing around waiting for their event to go, coming in and out of the warm-up area.
That's good. I mean, I remember us talking last year. That was an issue for sure with how
it was.
crowded
It was the warm-up area was nuts.
Yep.
It was.
I take that back. I have 2 complaints.
Okay. Go for it.
Well, the other one was there, by the middle of the first day, there was no chalk in the warm-up area.
Oh shit.
But I know why. People would take that, they'll steal it, like whatever.
Yeah.
But my point to that is I only have 2 negatives about the whole entire weekend. You did
It's a pretty big deal. Yeah, that's awesome.
right? Like
that's really awesome. If I'm being honest, because like there's always you've been to the games, both of you, more than once.
They fuck shit up all the time, man. But there's a lot. I will say this: they have so many things to think about, which is crazy.
True.
Get a bigger team.
True.
So not a smaller team.
So I feel like that's a good like bell curve of the whole. Not the whole weekend, obviously about half the weekend.
Yeah.
But I want to keep it like blacklisted centric. So when it comes to the atmosphere within the blacklisted community that was there, that were there, how did you feel compared to last year? Because it was great last year. How the blacklisted community was pretty involved. And then I'll get your thoughts on it as well, because I really don't have like a comparison to how it was last year other than via your athletes. Like, how did you feel the blacklisted atmosphere was going from event to event? Because it kicked off, honestly, in my opinion, last year with Amanda like running down that one girl on the run.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, like it was different this year, right? Because everybody had everybody was going on the track and field or the swim event, so it wasn't like same. So like the elite athletes couldn't get a feel for what the workout or the run trail was like. It was like you're kind of just going in blind.
Oh snap! Last year you said.
Last year that you could get data points on the actual
Which
and, like,
is
race
interesting
course.
because the run got fucked up last year by
a lot of people.
Handful of people.
Yeah, right.
I think Tristan ran an extra like 1K.
Something.
Amanda almost did too, I think.
Yeah. But this year the elite athletes were doing a swim. Everyone else was doing kind of a run workout. The buy-in actually did come into play a little bit. But I think for us it started off a little bit weird because we got stuck on a bridge for 3 hours Thursday night to Friday morning.
What?
Yeah, we went out to dinner. This is on me. I did not check. I opened the VRBO map, and because I'm a visual learner, I saw a little placard of like, oh, this is where we are. I sent it to one of my clients who lives out there, being like, hey, this is where we're at. She said, oh, that's close to me. Why don't we eat here? So I suggested that to everybody. Everybody said yes. I didn't realize there was 4 of those locations in the Charleston area.
Oh, no.
We were literally 5 minutes away from one of them. And I was like, oh, this is not the one. We're going to this one that's 25 minutes away. So we went out there, and then on the way back, if you don't know Charleston, it's basically like a bunch of inlets that sprawl out. and so you have to cross a bunch of bridges. And on the way back, because I think 9:00 at night, 9:15 is when we officially started crossing over the bridge. Somebody had a rollover with an entrapment, which basically means they died.
Yeah.
They died. They died because that ambulance had to go through fucking 2 miles of traffic and was moving at a snail's pace to get there.
That sucks.
So it was a massive rollover into the other lane, like into the oncoming lane even.
Oh, shit.
They closed that lane down for a little bit until they cleared the debris out, but they had our lane completely blocked off. We were in the car for 2.5 hours just sitting there.
Could watch some good documentaries during that time. Team America.
Raphael fell asleep.
Team America World Police.
He's got sleep apnea.
Damn.
I was wondering. Same though, so
the flow of the competition started out for really, really.
it was.
We had to reverse.
Yeah,
we didn't
they
ever get to
turned-
go through the
They
bridge
took.
Really.
They
because
took.
they died.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
took the entire traffic buildup and one by one turned each car around
Damn.
to get everybody out of there.
I wonder what happened to the 18-wheelers.
Yeah, right.
They
Just,
had to abandon.
just back
Dude,
it up.
there's not a chance. Because, like, remember when we got stuck at Universal and I kind of flipped the fuck out that one time?
Yeah.
It's not like the one worker running down, moving the cones to help me back up.
Oh, imagine that, but like
a hell of a lot worse.
a
had to
mile
be.
and a half of traffic.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was
It's
crazy. It was
nuts.
pretty crazy.
So a lot of stress and cortisol headed into Friday.
Yeah, like my big thing, like when I was trapped in the car, or like when we were trapped there, I was like, "Fuck, Amanda's got to get to bed. Amanda's got to get." That was the only thing like running through my mind, and we're like debating pulling up an Uber and like her walking back and taking the Uber back, but she was just like, "No, whatever."
Because she was used to all the chaos from the grid season, so she knew how to adapt quickly.
Sure.
Sure, we can call it that. So it started off really weird. Amanda had to wake up even earlier that morning to go do some work for her gym. So it wasn't like in our house it was tough to like really dial in and focus on like, hey, we have a competition going on, if that makes sense, because of the traffic and whatever. So it was a little bit weirder to pre-comp, right?
Mhm.
Then you get there, and everybody, you start kind of getting into the mood a little bit more because everybody else is really excited, jazzed up, right?
They fed off each other.
What's that? Yeah,
fed
it fed off each other
That's
a little bit more. So, and
That's good to hear because that adversity sucks. The night before,
right,
and to be able to
right.
come back and have the community of athletes that are here,
Mhm.
part of the blacklisted, to be like, it's all good, dog. We got this. Let's have some fun. That's great.
Yeah. So that it started to change then. Amanda was still dealing with she had injured her hamstring the week before, so she was also dealing with that, and that was a big component to everything. So she didn't have as good of a start and wasn't as happy of a start to the weekend in general because her hamstring just
Sucks.
she was literally doing air squats and it blew up on her
Damn.
and like got worse. So we always kind of rally, like big competitions that we go to, we almost always kind of have somebody that's in the elite division that we can kind of like rally around and like support and like get behind. So Amanda ended up pulling out after the first workout, but what's I think is super cool is she didn't pull out and just leave. Like she pulled out, stuck around, and was supporting everybody.
That's a great segue into the ups and downs then of each category for the blacklisted specifically. So Amanda had to withdraw,
Mm-hmm.
and the down was she had to withdraw, but the up was she stuck around.
Yeah.
And was that leader that we all know her to be. So within the individual categories, for the individual category of everyone, from the elite to the what was the lowest this year?
I think
Scaled,
we
I
just
guess.
had.
It was just scaled, but
Yeah.
I think teens were the lowest that we had.
Okay,
somebody
then let's
competing.
hit on each one. So individually speaking, let's build off the Amanda part.
Well, I think there's a little bit more like to the Amanda part is
Right.
like it cultivated and like solidified what we're trying to do here
Awesome.
in regards to everybody supports everybody.
That's good shit.
Because she didn't leave. It actually was like, so everybody kind of rallies around her at these competitions usually.
Mhm.
And like everybody's kind of like focused on, hey, what's Amanda doing? Or, whoever's in the elite division. And it was Liana was still competing in the elite division this year. So like
Hell yeah.
not trying to take anything away from her. because she did really well at this competition.
Yes, she did.
But it was kind of more. It changed from, hey, we're going here supporting Amanda. We're doing our thing still. We might have really good competitions as well, but we're coming and kind of watching, whoever it is in the elite division, right? And it changed from that to, what is everybody else doing? Make sure you get to their events. Make sure you watch them. And not that they weren't doing it before, but you could tell that was the atmosphere of the event, was everybody is supporting everybody at this
That
event.
gave me goosebumps, so being honest. Like, that's
it was
awesome to hear.
I mean, and I think that's one of the reasons, like, it really showed what we're trying to build here in support of everybody. And I think that's why you have so many people talking about why it was such a good event, is because they saw, like, Amanda was a big driver of that, but they saw how, like, Griffin and Pat in the back supporting everybody, helping out where they need to help out, us literally running back and forth between events to try and watch everyone that we could, making sure we're getting people warmed up properly in the back and getting their head right before they go out onto the competition floor. Like, you could tell there was a continuous energy around what we were doing there that was just, it was fun, and everybody was competing really well and having fun doing it.
That's what's up. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Fair enough. So
Yeah,
how did that bleed into the next?
The other
category
thing
below?
I think that was, sorry, I didn't mean
You're
to
fine.
cut you off there, but, like, I think the other thing that was cool was Raphael was there, and we're gonna put out a documentary eventually about Fittest of the Coast.
Hell yeah.
But I think having him there also was a huge mood changer, and, like,
He's great.
yeah, well, and he just gets the best out of, like, he just gets the best out of people, like,
The best out of Pat.
no comment.
Oh man, there's a whole documentary that we could put on Pat.
Yeah, for real.
Well, I wasn't there this year, so it's his turn to shine. Can we get a little insight?
No.
A little teaser? No, let's leave that.
I can actually absolutely not.
Oh, fuck.
What was your perspective on him being there?
He's good at lightening the mood for a lot of people that get too serious and sometimes that need someone to make jokes and like make them feel a little bit less stressed. Even if it's like, some people need a distraction from when they're going to compete because they're a detriment to themselves, right? So,
we talked a little bit about that before.
so he did a good job there, and he only had one of his individual athletes, and he did a good job. And like, I think like some people, so everyone needs to be coached differently.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be coached differently with how much time you give them, how much you talk to them. Because some people you just need to say 3 words and leave them alone, right?
Yeah.
So like with Pat, like with his one athlete, like he did a good job with him. He only needed a certain few things, and then like wind checked on him, and that was it. Like he didn't have to do too many things.
That's great.
He's like learned how to coach that athlete. We have a bunch of other ones, and we had to coach each one of them entirely different. We also had to navigate some other coaches try to step in that didn't know shit about some
really?
things. Yeah, but it's all right.
We can't say anything about that?
No, we can.
Oh, please do.
No, it's just some dude from TTT that was competing that also tried to say something that was entirely wrong, and then my athlete was like, "He's an idiot." I'm like, "Yeah, well,
Okay, well, after this, you're going to have to tell me who that was.
well, it is. I don't even know, to be honest. I don't know who it was. But it was fine because
It's none of my business.
I tried to fix it. It doesn't matter, but like that also is like, there you have to navigate that when you're coaching at a comp, especially when there's people on teams, because then you'll have 2 athletes and the men have a different coach, and
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
I had to step away for a minute, let them say what they wanted to say.
that dynamic is always weird when you have athletes that have 2 different coaches on the team, but your job is to figure out where you need to be in regards to that. Are you a follower coach, and like you just, hey, like you're checking in on your athlete, hey, what do you need? They're getting you, cool, back off. Or that coach wants you to take the lead, and then you go take the lead on whatever it is you need to do. And like that dynamic, just in that instance, I walked up at the back end of it. So in that instance, like that dynamic definitely wasn't there, and it just became awkward and weird. So
I'm super curious about this story later on.
it's honestly, it's not even that big of a deal. Like it was one instance, and like I think it was the last fucking workout of the weekend, maybe, or second to last. Like it really wasn't that big of a deal, honestly. But it was just like, everybody
wants to know.
sure, whatever.
I mean, there's not really much. It just
Yeah, I've been to a lot of competitions now. I've coached with other coaches, etc. So it's just one of those things, a learning experience for everybody. Like, you just got to figure out where you fit in regard, because at the end of the day, your goal is to make sure that the athlete performs well out on the competition floor. Even if even if, whatever you don't necessarily agree with whatever the other person is saying, if you're in that role that's just kind of like a following role, hey, if they're going to come out with intensity with that game plan or that strategy or whatever, like, your job is just to make sure that the athlete is ready to go and push with that intensity. So it's just kind of, I wish that more people, and I think a lot of people do a good job with this. I also don't know who that was over there. And
it's a testament to the athlete trusting you guys too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Well, my athlete came over to me and was just like, "That's not right, is it?" I'm like, "No."
See, I absolutely love that personally, because, like, look, I'm an advocate of, like, the more eyes, the better, right? But it's a great learning, it's a great learning opportunity for the athlete that's being coached by you to see, like, hey, do I actually trust my coach? Is this actually instilling in me, or is this an opportunity to learn and identify what's actually able to work and what isn't?
Right. Oh, well, I just let it go. I was like, okay, go for it. And the thing is, it was wrong, and he wasn't fixing the problem that was there, which was very simple to fix. Specifically, it was on a worm. Like, it's been a stupid amount of time on a fucking worm.
You've been on a worm a couple times here and there.
So yeah. I mean, it was just one of those things. Like, there was other times there were other coaches that I was around that were trying to coach, and that was fine. It was just that one. It was a weird instance. But you have to learn to navigate that. But it was what I liked out of it was my athlete was like, knew, felt the situation, and was just like, all right, and then listened, and then came over and talked to me about it, and they were like, okay, yeah, cool.
See, that's fucking awesome too, because, like, I'm gonna make this about the blacklisted. I don't want to say product, but I'll say what is done here is something that we've talked about before in the on the podcast, and it's trying to educate as well. Like, athlete centric and educate, which means, like, when opportunities are provided to use their own deductive reasoning to see what makes sense and what doesn't, boom, there's a prime example, right? And that's just, to my opinion, that's something that should have always been happening across all of companies like this, and Blacklisted continues to stay above the curve.
Yeah.
My opinion. Now, I'm open to being, like, shot down about that, but that's just because there's bias, obviously.
Being shot. Sick.
I'm down for that too. It's quick.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think everybody back there, there was a lot of different companies back there.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, everybody was very, the coaching side of things in the sport is becoming more professionalized, and the coaches are caring more about what how their athletes are performing at these competitions. And so, it's growing, and I think people are also understanding that this fucking community is so fucking small, and people go from coach to coach to coach to coach to coach to coach. And at the end of the day, it's like, you're not trying to burn any bridges. You need to just be on the lookout for the athlete that you're coaching specifically, which I'm sure that he was trying to do. And he, thought that he would, he was approaching the athlete to help the athlete out. Right. So, and I think as a whole, like, we might be with different organizations, but at the end of the day, we're still coming together to try and make sure that the athlete has the best experience out on the competition floor. So, that's ultimately the goal.
That makes me happy, like, really fucking happy. Like, there's no egos here. Well, in my opinion. I mean, there are, but there aren't here. Blacklisted specifically.
There are still egos here, but not in a bad way. You should have an ego.
Well,
okay. An ego.
I mean, technically,
I know. I'm just fucking kidding. We all knew what you meant.
False troubleshooter, but it's fine. We won't go down. We won't go down that Alan Watts route. So, all right, let's circle it back into the ups and downs of each category. So, we hit the ups and downs individually. Now, what about team?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the individual side of things, I guess I can speak
go through the whole
speak for
list,
myself,
please. Honestly,
but,
like, I want to. Everyone needs to know the analysis.
Yeah, I should have pulled up the stats really quick, but I mean, we had Liana. She competed in RX division last year, competed in Elite this year.
Yeah, what growth was there, like, with that?
I mean, she
not just her, but everybody. That was individual. Like
Yeah.
who went up, who didn't.
Sydney moved up a couple spots, but I mean the competition for the girls' side of the field was exponentially harder this year than it was last year.
Just
so
even the qualifiers.
yeah, like I had a conversation with Sydney about like, look, maybe yes, you got a backfill spot this year again. She got a backfill spot last year, and it's like yes, you got a backfill spot again this year, but you have to understand how much harder the competition was to qualify for this year versus last year.
Yeah, John was telling me about that.
Yeah,
during
and
during the qualifiers.
And this is kind of one thing why I don't like using leaderboards specifically as like gauges for how much fitter you've gotten over the year, because it's like you could end up in the same spot and be exponentially more fit than you were last year.
Yeah.
You know, especially for a competition like Fittest of the Coast that's continuing to grow. It's tough. So, Sydney moved up a couple spots. I'm trying to think. James second place in 16.
This was his first year at Fittest of the Coast, right?
Yeah.
Growth.
Yeah,
Granted, he didn't compete there last year, did he?
No.
he didn't. As far as I know,
I don't remember seeing him there.
as far as I know, his first competition was the pit team. Yeah,
Okay.
which he ended up winning last year.
He seems like he's in pretty good shape.
Oh yeah, he's in really good shape. He's very good.
How old is he?
16.
16. Oh,
Yeah,
I thought he was like 21.
yeah. So he finished second place. Trying to think who else here.
Did Stella do it?
Mm-mm.
No.
Elliot
My
did,
fault.
no.
Elliot, yeah.
Crushed it.
Good. I mean, it seemed like it from the results.
I don't have a
Results
negative
later.
thing to say for her. She got better physically and mentally, and mentally was the biggest issue for her.
Talk about that for a minute, if you don't mind.
Well, I guess so. She came from another group, another coaching group, and just didn't get enough attention or anyone that really felt like she cared. She's also had like a lot of mental struggles. And most of the time when I've coached her, she battles a lot. She'll do what I say, but she'll always question it, which is fine at first. Building
Asking
trust.
questions is wonderful.
It's fine, but it's not asking questions of why. It's more of doubt questions for herself.
Okay.
And I've been trying to instill a lot more confidence in what she can do, and by both purposely, like in training, make challenging her to do things she can't do, and then reassuring her once she does it, like, hey, remember that you can do this. You just did it. And some of those specific points came up in workouts at the competition, and she got through them, right? And not just got through them, she succeeded her expectations on a lot of things.
That's what's up.
Which they didn't succeed my expectations, because my expectations are what she did.
Yeah.
But she attacked all the things we talked about in each workout. We gave little details of things that I wanted her to focus on, so she didn't see the whole big picture and make her, panic.
Mm-hmm.
But she got better at competing, and that's her big thing. Is she's really good at training. She has to keep getting better at competing.
That's wonderful. I mean, congratulations to her on that. Then, like, for you to say we just say I know is a really big step for an individual.
Well, she realized that she belongs with those other girls that are really
Fuck
good.
yeah.
She's not there to beat them yet, and she knows that, and that's okay. That's not about like what the point is. She closed a major gap from where she was to where she is now, and that's the only thing you can do is keep closing that gap on these girls.
There you go.
Right? So because two of the girls are really good games level athletes.
Okay.
I mean, crazy good, and she. At the final workout for her of the weekend, it was like a strength event, and she took third on it.
All right.
And she's not a strength athlete, which we've been working on. So she
She's
literally
been hitting a lot of PRs lately.
yes, she has. So I think she walked away from that one and was like, oh shit, like hell yeah. But she executed. That I told her exactly like, hey, look, these are the 2 points that you have to be perfect on. If one of the other girls messes up, you're gonna beat them. You just execute these 2 things, and she did, and that's exactly right. She took third. So,
That's what's up.
She
Well
walked
done,
away
Elliot.
super
Well done.
excited, and we had a bunch of athletes that had like little stories like this all weekend. But from that teen aspect, she did. It was great.
Yeah.
That's really
Before-
awesome.
Before I forget,
Yep.
or not mention them, but Caroline and them also competed in the intermediate division. Caroline was 4th place, basically 8 spots out. Big lesson for her is just fucking try harder. Literally, she was, I think it was like 10 seconds on the run out from being on the podium. So,
Oh no.
yep.
Isn't it funny?
Welcome to live competition. And Emma also finished inside of the top 10. She competed in
All right.
intermediate team last year
Yeah.
and competed in intermediate this year. So she also killed it.
How much did using the run as the example here for the opposite of the swim, how much did the swim impact podium spots that you guys noticed globally?
I would have to go back and look at the leaderboard.
That's fair.
Because Leanna,
how much did it impact anyone on our team individually? Or anyone on...
Amanda pulled out after the swim.
Okay, well, there's one. One.
It was only Leanna and, Leanna, Tristan, and...
How did Tristan do on the swim? How did Tristan do overall? Not a single mention of him yet.
Yeah, so he didn't have the best weekend. He's still learning. We'll put it
Fair.
that way. So it was a very big, hopefully, learning opportunity of how to get better. Because he's gotten so much better in training.
Mhm.
And there are a lot of things that if he wants to be extremely competitive at the elite level, has to understand these details are what make or break being competitive.
Gotcha.
And hopefully it was an eye-opening part, because on a team he did good, and he's another.
He did both this year?
He did both.
Awesome.
And I think we found a perfect match for him and with Will.
Okay.
2 peas in a pod.
They are so like that was a major positive of the weekend for them. Is they both like walked away like, oh yeah, this is actually a good like partner for me.
Mm-hmm. They're already looking at other competitions.
Yeah.
So.
I think Tristan
they
is
can
a
do
better
really
team
well.
athlete than individual.
He is. It also
Right
takes,
now.
Yes, for sure. Right now, it takes the pressure away, and when the pressure goes away, Tristan does a lot better.
He's just referencing like the grid playoffs and championship. Like Grayley, never seen him perform as well.
Beach brawl.
Yeah, beach brawl too.
Yeah.
I mean,
When on a team, he does really well. He needs to learn to keep competing with a team so that pressure goes away, and then take that into the individual side.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor had a phenomenal weekend, and she was battling an injury.
She went up from intermediate last year.
She went up into the RX.
wasn't last year her first year at a major competition like Fittest the Coast when we met her?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't even
Because she did she did extremely fucking well last year too.
Yeah.
And she was the next person I was going to ask about. So that's great. I'm glad she did as well as she did with an injury. Like that's what injury does she has maybe she
her
been fighting?
forearm is just keeps blowing up.
So it's so tight. I worked on it Saturday night. Well, no, I didn't.
What part of her forearm?
Her forearm. It's literally all of it. It's so tight.
Yeah.
It's so tight.
Right or left?
Yes.
Really?
It keeps going back and forth.
Nice.
She's a server too, and like so. Unfortunately,
Oh, she plays volleyball?
no,
I thought you said server. And
Waitress.
like waitress.
Oh, I thought you were going to follow that up with libero. That's why. My fault. My fault.
no. So like,
I legit started to hear
forearms
libero.
keep blowing up, and I was
Gotcha.
like, unfortunately, I think like you having to be like that all the time is not helping. But she battled through all weekend, so like mentally, like she was. That's tough. That's a tough thing, and I told her, I was like, look,
Especially with all the forearm related.
it's all tendonitis,
Shit.
unfortunately.
yeah,
Like, it's just overuse.
And Kyle's got a little bit of a grip bias to his workouts, so they were all super grippy.
Yeah.
Clarify who Kyle is real quick, because every time you say Kyle, I think you're talking about you.
No, the owner of Fittest of the Coast.
He just talked to me.
I honestly, the first time you said how Kyle develops the atmosphere, I thought you were talking about you. In third
Oh,
person.
no.
I'm just sick. It's so fucking weird. But yeah, no, she did really well for like on a lot of things that we were trying to get better at, and like she got a lot stronger. She was able to get through a lot of like she challenged herself on a lot of the strength stuff and got better there. She just got better across the board, and then she also did team even with her forearm being pissed, and
Fuck yeah.
battled through a tough weekend, but continuously got better, and knows like next year she'll jump a big piece again. She's a true competitor, so
Hell yeah.
it's cool to watch her compete.
Yeah.
Brianna also podiumed,
Well, that was team.
Okay, so let's wrap up the team talk. And then did Dylan do team or was he individual?
Dylan was team.
Dylan was team. So let's wrap up the team talk, and then we'll
I think
wrap this.
we had
fully up
Will
with the results
competed
and final
individual
thoughts.
as well. And he needs to compete more. This is actually a conversation that I just had with Sydney as well. Is there's a lot of athletes that get into CrossFit having prior athletic experience, and like Sydney referred to it as X, Y, and Z. X, she's got the strength. Y, she's got the gymnastics and the skills. Z, she doesn't have the capacity, and all of that funnels into competition, right? And so Will is a little bit in the same boat where he's got X and Y, doesn't have Z, and so that leads to a little bit more of like a lapse in mental for him, like lapse in mental fortitude when competing. For Sydney, it's like more capacity based, but Will also played football and was in track in college, super athletic, right? So he's got the two of the three things needed for the sport and can probably almost always qualify, just like not even trying that hard for RX level competitions. But when you get there, it's a different ball game. And so one thing that I talked to Will about is we need to bring it back a little bit, and we need to go down to local level competitions and have you start competing at these things to build your ability to compete, and then we can put you back into the individual side of things. And so that was kind of, Will came away the second day having learned that if you don't compete with expectations outside of executing on your workouts, you compete a lot better. And so he did very well. I think he had 2 top 5 finishes, at least 1 top 5 finish the second day, maybe 2. And he learned, like, that was his big learning point, is just let go of all expectations of where it doesn't, like, you might think that you should finish somewhere on a leaderboard. Guess what? That reality hasn't happened yet, and you have to go out and make that reality happen. So don't put any expectations that you should be anywhere on the leaderboard. The only expectation you have is that you should execute on your workout.
There you go.
So that was his big learning point. He was also, I guess, shitting and puking.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Friday night to Saturday morning. He showed up. I was talking to Courtney. He showed up and he was like, I was talking to somebody, I can't remember who, and just stands right in front of me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck out of here. Like, thinking he was going to get everybody else sick. Yeah. And he was like, no, I'm good. He's like, I'm going to try and compete. And I'm like, come here. We went and talked on the side, and he was like totally fine. It was crazy.
It's just performance anxiety.
Yeah. It was crazy.
We talked a little bit about somatic anxiety, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sitting here because I was trying to text him in the morning, but I've got, like, we left Griffin's ass. I left Griffin's ass on Saturday morning.
Oh my
God. Yeah, that shit was crazy.
Bad. It was bad.
Sorry, I was there. I was on time. I found my way there. I ran 7 miles. No, I just took it.
I believe it. People would believe it.
Well, I thought about it, but I didn't. I actually looked. I was like, fuck. Could I make it if I started running right now? And I was like, damn, it would be too tight to Elliot's first workout.
So I had a lot going on in my head. And so I was like trying to text him and figure out like what he was going to do. So the last thing I left him with was like, I think you should probably sleep this morning and recover and like get some food in your body. And then if you're feeling good, let's try and hit it for team. And then all of a sudden he's like in front of my face. Like, what the hell?
Like a Sunday morning erection. Nice.
Sure.
It's fine.
Okay.
Did they have the acai bowls again? Because that would help get them fueled up quickly.
There were not any. They did have some good bowls, though.
I don't know. I literally didn't have time to go into Vendor Village this year.
I didn't either, but I just went out to grab food out of the food truck. Maybe they did in Vendor Village. I don't know.
Yeah, they did last year. And they gave away like free acai bowls. They're like $18 free bowls.
Oh, wow. I was giving Christine
too
my card to go buy me food this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Did Christine compete this year or no?
No, she didn't. She didn't.
So, wrapping it up, the final results across the board were what? Who podiumed? Dennis posted. Everyone goes to
teams.
Brooke and Maddie, they had a top 10 finish. I'll just read off this list.
Go for it.
Brooke and Maddie had a top 10 finish.
Awesome.
They had two top 5 finishes in elite team category.
Hell yeah.
Bree and Leanna won. Sydney and Shelby, I think, ended up in 6th place.
Okay.
Lee and her partner were also inside of the top 10, and they won the whole ski event. Like,
hell yeah.
Ski portion of that event.
Yo, fucking sit.
She's so good on the sheet. They were, I think it was 4 cows away from winning the intermediate mixed division of one. So with dudes cranking on the machine.
She just laid it on the
I will say there was one cool thing about Danielle, though, for the weekend was that's the first time I've ever seen an athlete in the middle of a workout look up to find me and literally like, what do I do on something? Okay. And gave her a cue and she just fixed it. And I was like, sick.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's huge growth. That's awesome.
Yeah. But Lee also has a different perspective. Like, she's a firefighter, so she sees crazy shit all the time. True. So like her perspective of what's challenge, or like when you're in that environment, you have to be very aware. Like when you're fighting, you have to be very aware of your surroundings. So when you go into fight or flight, you're still aware of what's going on around you, and so you can consciously be like, "Oh shit, I need help."
That shit's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that.
But yeah, that was cool. She just absolutely murdered herself on that ski. That was a good time.
James finished 2nd place. Elliot moved up to 6th place in her division. She had 2 top 5 finishes. Arthur and his partner, they also had a top 10 finish. They finished 6th place in RX co-ed with a 2nd and 3rd place finish.
What's up?
And then Lee won the ski workout.
And then Courtney had a good mental weekend.
Yeah.
Like first she felt like she started off a little rocky and then did really well on the final day, and
good.
She also closed a weakness gap really well, which is great.
Hell yeah.
Then I had a girl, Katie, who's over in Alabama. She was sick the week before and definitely was probably still sick going into the event. She looked like death after every workout. But she did really well this weekend. This is the first time she had a minor MCL sprain. She started back up with me in May of last year, so we had to work her back into even squatting. And she's about to compete in Masters. So like from the build up that we started in May till now, till like getting back out on the competition floor, she did great. When like competing against like basically 20 or 23 to 26-year-olds, she did really well.
Wonderful. So that's awesome. That's one hell of a weekend across the board. I like that you talked about the result mindset versus just like podium results.
A lot of times that's what it is.
Yeah. So let's wrap this up and get you guys' final thoughts on the weekend. I feel like we've hit a pretty good bell curve on final thoughts throughout the entire conversation, but is there anything specific from the two of you?
We'll be back next year.
Fuck yeah, man.
I think the whole collective of the group got better.
Yeah.
And that's all you can ask for every time they step out there.
That's awesome, man. I'm bummed that I missed it this year, but shit, man, I'm super stoked with the success. However, it's defined, in my opinion, it met my definition of success for your guys' athletes, a blacklisted community as a whole. I hope you got a cigar while you were there like we did last year.
Yeah, we did. Saturday night.
Yeah, outstanding. Same place?
We walked in with much nicer clothing on than we walked in last year. But we were still called street rats and kicked out.
The guy kicked you out?
Yeah, we walked in with shorts, business casual. We need pants.
But that guy was super friendly last year.
I know.
He didn't remember you?
No.
Damn it.
I know.
Go back next year and be like, wear shorts. I'm like, I'm the same guy.
I'm the same guy. You'll have to keep kicking me out.
Because he let us stay there for...
I know. But I think it was because it was new. Because he had just renovated that place. I mean, we looked like scrubs walking into that place. You had a
last year, yeah, I do remember.
Wear rip-away pants next year. Wear them and then rip them off when you get inside.
He's like, last year, we had a long-ass conversation with him.
He was awesome last year.
Because he's a Chinese citizen, too.
Hong Kong. He was a Hong Kong citizen. Well, I guess China. Yeah. They took it over in COVID. They did. They just were like, you're ours now. Yeah, but he was a cool guy.
So not a win there. No success there. That's a bummer.
Yeah, I walked in with a nice sweatshirt and shorts on, and Raphael walked in with nice shorts on and a t-shirt on, and he's like, you can buy a cigar, but you gotta leave. Okay.
Damn, because he was super cool last year.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then I went and picked up a cigar for Pat at some wild tobacco shop. The kid behind the counter was super high. And I went like this for something, and I asked him for the receipt at the same time, and he thought I was going to like
dab him
up. And he like realized it like 10 seconds after, and he just starts dying laughing.
Well, at least there's one successful story. Well, next year we'll need to pack a suit and tie.
Yes, right.
Honestly, man, if you had the opportunity to sit in those nice chairs and read a book.
Oh, it was great. It was great. I would still go back to the place. I was just bummed that I didn't wear pants
and shorts. Like you were in pants last time. I was not.
I put on jeans last time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Either jeans or sweatpants because you're a little bitch about the cold.
Please wear rip-away pants. I'll give you them. I have a pair.
Just walk in with the Zubas.
Is it jeans? It's got to be business casual.
No, I know. It should be just like, I'm the same guy, but I got pants on this.
Yeah.
Well,
The shout out to that. It's Kingsleaf in downtown Charleston. It's
dude,
a great
it's
shop.
a wonderful place.
Yeah.
He does not let college students in there either.
No, well, he does, but you got to be business
Yeah,
casual. Like
he
they
kicked
want
out that group last year.
Well, they wanted to do some weird filming.
Oh,
thing
that's
in there,
right,
You
that's
know,
right,
like, and
yeah.
he was like, "You guys didn't talk to me about this at all." Like, no.
No. Well, hell yeah to the weekend. Kingsleaf will come back. Blacklist community, proud of you all from Dan, the 5-headed mediator, instead of 4-headed. So, thanks guys. Thanks for having me back. Hopefully, be able to have another one.
Yeah, I think we're settling in. I don't think we have anything going on
Well, do you want to
outside of
mention about the
travel.
camp?
Yeah, we have the camp. Yeah, March 21st, 22nd, 23rd. But then travel wise, like I think we're here for a while. Minus Griff.
I'm fucking all over the place.
Griff's gone a lot. But yeah,
Right
so
on.
we'll be here.
Cool.
Thanks guys.
Thanks, guys. Please like and subscribe. Camp's coming up.
Hit that notification bell.
We'll catch you guys next time.
Notification bill?
Bell. Did I say
Oh.
Bill?
I don't know. I heard bill.